right, so in this video, we're going to take a look at examples where we have to find the value of theta, and you're like given some conditions for it. So we're going to do this with these 3 examples. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Just a thing though, if you're watching this because you were struggling with it, once you feel like you get the hang of it, I really recommend that you pause the video and try it on your own. Math is not a spectator sport, as I always say. Okay, so secant theta equals the negative square root of 2. All right, so the first thing that I noticed with this is negative. So the question is then, in what quadrants would this be negative? Okay, so secant and cosine, these kind of go hand in hand, right? They are reciprocal functions of one another. And so if you think of that phrase I always say, all students take calculus. So cosine is positive in quadrants 1 and 4. So if this is negative, so cosine and secant, like I said, they're reciprocals. This is going to happen then in quadrants 2 and 3. That's the first thing you want to figure out, is just what quadrant are we in. Okay, so let me make some space. And now let's do this thing. So I think the best way to really approach these, like the values that you're going to have here, these are going to be values that you already know. And so I always bring up this handy little chart here. So where does secant of theta equal the square root of 2? So here is secant, square root of 2. So I can kind of reverse engineer. So it's going to happen at 45 degrees. Your goal is to be able to do this without the chart, but I do bring the chart up, towards the beginning, just as you're getting used to it. Okay, so this happens at, this is positive at 45 degrees. So now we will draw a little reference. Okay, so here I have 45 degrees. Now I need to figure this out for quadrants 2 and 3. How do I end up with a 45 degree reference angle? So you can kind of like reverse engineer this like however you want. So here, so if you think about it, normally you would do like 180 minus that reference angle. So I can do 180 minus 45 degrees. So this is going to give me 135 degrees. So that's going to be, let's see, let me write this. Theta is 135 degrees. So we kind of like reverse engineered, right, the reference angle. And then normally, like, we would do theta minus 180. But in this case, I can do also 45 degrees plus 180 to like reverse engineer what this should be. And so this comes out to 225 degrees. And so that would be my other theta. Moving on to B here. So I've got cotangent of theta equals negative square root of 3 over 3. So you know that the first thing that we have to do is figure out what quadrants are we in. I would highly recommend you pause the video to think about that and hit play when you're ready. All right, so the way I think about this, I always think to myself, so tangent and therefore cotangent is going to be positive in quadrants 1 and 4. So this is going to be negative then, just kind of reverse engineering. This is going to be in quadrants 2, oops, sorry, I said 1 and 4, I meant 1 and 3. 1 and 3, so it's going to be negative in quadrants 1 and 4. So all students take calculus, so that reminds me this is going to be positive in 1 and 3. Okay, so getting rid of all that, and so now I can really just like reverse engineer this. So all of this is going to come back to that like handy dandy little chart that we have. So square root of 3 over 3 for cotangent happens at 60 degrees. So now we just want to be careful when we're figuring this out. So okay, here's my 60 degrees. So if I'm in the second quadrant, that's the one I need, I'm going to take 180 minus the 60 degrees. So that gives me 120 degrees. So that's going to be one of my thetas, right? And you know that you found the right one if you kind of just reverse engineer the calculation one more time. So to get into quadrant 4, so what I'm going to do to reverse engineer that, I'll take 360 degrees minus 60 degrees. So that comes out to 300 degrees. And so that would be my other one. All right, so at this point, you've seen me do 2 of these. I would highly recommend that you pause the video and try this one entirely on your own, and I will walk you through it if you need that help. So first figure out what quadrant this has to be in. Hit play when you're ready. All right, so I know that cosine is positive in quadrants 1 and 4. So this is positive, so I've got to be in a quadrant 1 and 4. So if I just think about my little chart here, so cosine of 1/2 corresponds to 60 degrees. Okay, so in quadrants 1 and 4, just 60 degrees. Okay, so that one's not so bad. And then I got to get the quadrant 4. So in quadrant 4, I'm just going to take 360 minus that to figure out what my original angle would have been. So this is going to be 300 again. Oops, my pen just went crazy. 300 degrees. So this is the other one. So those would be my 2 thetas. And so that's it. So if you found that helpful, consider liking this video or leaving me a comment, sharing it with a friend, or hitting the subscribe button. And otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time.